Clemson mood tracker time. Sound the alarms. The mood tracker is here for Clemson. Quick question. Where is Clemson right now? Not on the map, although that's a good test too. I would just ask you, where's Clemson as a program? As we do the mood tracker and I explain to you how the fan base feels, or at least I try and guess how the fan base feels, where's Clemson? Classic consequence of success here. Because Clemson is being viewed as down or off pace or fading, and the reality is they have won double-digit games every year since 2011. They have been the ACC champion 7 of the last 8 years, including this last one. Does that sound like a down program to you? Only answer yes if you understand that you have ended up recalibrating your own perception of that program and you have vaulted the expectations into a stratosphere that's really unfair. People have done it with Bama. Now Saban has still continued to knock down championships, but it's unrealistic to expect a program to just perennially provide you that kind of level of play. So Clemson's not down. Clemson may have temporarily had a cramp in their toe and took their foot off the accelerator. They're not down. They haven't ground to a halt, which kind of brings me to a point I wanted to make because I was thinking about what to make the mood. So I ended up making the mood cleaning the cosmetics. Programs can have messes of all different variety. Programs can have problems of all different varieties. Some of them obviously are more serious than others. Imagine you go in to interview for a job, right? And you sit down and you do your interview and then you don't get the job and the recruiter calls you back and says, hey, you nailed the interview. They're really high on attention to detail and it turns out the buttons were misaligned. That's scenario A. Scenario B, the recruiter calls and says, hey, you didn't tell me you had 37 HR violations and a pending sexual harassment complaint from your last place of employment. That's what cost you the job. One of these problems are a little more serious than the other. Clemson's just got misaligned buttons right now. It's cosmetic. These things are fixable. The tire's flat. The engine is not broken. And so I think that Clemson fans feel that way, and if that's the way they feel, I would share that sentiment. But that also means we need to do a healthy look at what Dabo Swinney just did. This time last year, I was a little bit critical of him. And I was critical of him because they had to replace 2 coordinators, and I just didn't like what he did, just point blank. I didn't like that he had the opportunity to conduct a national search, and his philosophy was, I want to promote from within. And he did that, and there's nothing wrong with promoting from within. Sometimes you have great candidates. I didn't feel like he had great candidates. And he promoted from within, and it didn't work out. Now, as much criticism as he, as it turns out, deserved for that, he deserves a lot of credit for hitting the dump button after 1 year. I think the same thing about Mario hiring Gaddis down at Miami. You make a bad decision. You understand? I don't think some people understand how hard that is to do. Because, see, you want to preach patience. And also, you put your stamp of approval on them. So really, it's not Dabo Swinney telling Brandon Streeter he's a failure. It's Dabo looking in the mirror and saying, I failed. Because this guy's no different than he was when I elevated him. I'm the one who screwed up. It's your job to do that. It's not easy to do that. Doesn't matter how many millions of dollars they pay you. It's not easy to admit, man, I screwed it up. That spectacularly in 1 year. 5 years down the road, okay, 1 year, that's tough. But he did it. As much criticism as you wanted to throw at him, myself included, you got to throw some praise his way, because not only did he hit the dump button on a failed experiment, he more than made up for it. He went and got Garrett Riley. And that was the highest profile name in the coordinator market. Garrett Riley was the highest profile candidate available out there. Top 10 scoring offense at TCU last year. Former quarterback, 33 years old. Won the Broyles Award last year. Now, I don't want to sit here and tell you that all Broyles Award winners are created equal, because someone's going to tell me, hey, guess who won it the year before? Josh Gaddis. So I get it. This is a good resume. I think this will work out. Unlike last year when I had a bunch of coaches hitting me up saying, Gaddis is not going to work out at Miami. I haven't had one hit me up and say, Garrett Riley, fraud, imposter, it won't work out. So I got a little more confidence in this hire. Kay Klubnik is one of the reasons I have confidence, because that's the 8th highest rated signee they've ever had there, and he may end up being one of the best quarterbacks they've ever signed. They've had some good ones. Some really good ones. One of the 5 stars they signed just moved on because this other 5-star they have is that good. Consequences of success notwithstanding, Clemson is they're fixing the cosmetics right now. They just put on a shade too dark, and they got to wipe it off. And whomst amongst us hasn't been there before. I'm a Maybelline natural beige guy myself, but maybe they're caramel beige or caramel beige. There's a direct correlation between people who say caramel and people who say tournament. I don't want to get into it. But at Harris County High School, it's just good old-fashioned tournaments. Clemson's going to be okay. Now, that's easy to say. Are they going to be great? That's the more difficult thing. Are they going to be in the championship hunt this year, or is it just a good, solid 10-2 effort? Both are acceptable, but only one ends up getting talked about 10 years down the road.